I figured into my mid-40s, I'll be as professional as I can be. But
Are you
the young
mid-40s
part,
already?
I'm right there, Mike. So
wow. Time flies.
it goes by really quick.
Yeah, I've had to admit that finally.
Yeah.
I thought when you said mid-40s, well, I'm younger than he is, but probably that's not the deal. Anyway, Brian Peterson is our guest. He's with Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters, who, of course, sponsors part of this show, and certainly appreciate that. And we're talking really about the Christmas tree of lights. Is that what it's called?
Well, it's just, we call it Lights at Kennedy.
Lights at Kennedy.
Yep.
Okay.
So any information you're looking for, you can usually find. We don't have a website or a phone number. I mean, it's really just on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
So go to Facebook and look for Lights at Kennedy. If there are any, like last Friday night, because of the ice storm, the power went out. So it's kind of hard to keep the lights going with no electricity. So we unfortunately had to close last Friday night due to that. But everything's back up and running again now. There'll probably be a little bit that we got to put together at the beginning of the night tonight, but there's a pretty good crew of us going out to make sure it's going to put on another good show this weekend. And
the mission of the Sertoma Club, Fort Dodge,
is service to mankind.
Speech and hearing.
Yeah, speech and hearing has been our big charity. Right here in Fort Dodge, the biggest charity that we're a part of is the Backpack Buddies program.
Oh, that's a great program.
Yeah. So every Friday there's us as Sertomans, basically, we're delivering kind of, call them weekend lunch kits to all the schools here in Fort Dodge, basically as an opportunity. So if there's a kid that the school identifies as, a kid that might not have another good meal until they come back to school again on Monday, they've got something to take home with them, some easy to cook or easy to make up, meal things for them. Mm-hmm. But that's a program that Sertoma's been doing for, I want to say at least the last 8 or 9 years, certainly at least the last 5.
Yeah.
I know I take a bunch of totes of them over to Butler every Friday. But obviously it's a food's always been a need in this community.
Of course.
And obviously,
we can't forget that either. That some people don't have enough to eat.
Some people don't have enough to eat. We need to make sure we're doing the things to try and help those folks out.
Absolutely.
And especially when we're talking about children, we're talking about somebody that, well, it's not like they can just go get a job and try and come up with their own. We're talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds. This is something where it's a need in our community. It's a service that we're very happy to provide. We're very happy to provide. Sertoma is also very involved with Veterans Memorial Park. That's also located right out there on the kind of the backside of Kennedy. So if you actually go on down National Avenue, you can go into Veterans Park, which is another which is a park that really Sertoma's helped put together and has helped to maintain over the years.
My son has a marker out there.
Yep.
Of veterans. Terry Menke was the driving force.
And Terry's still very much the driving force on that park. Terry does a ton of work on that place, and Backpack Buddies too. Terry doesn't get credit for all the things that he's done for Fort Dodge. I really don't believe so.
I hate to give him credit. Too.
I know you might hate to give him credit for it, but I'll sit here and try and give Terry credit for as much as I can on these things. But he's been a driving force on both of those programs.
He really has been a credit to our community.
Absolutely.
God, did I just say that? I guess I did.
Somebody better let him know Mike just complimented him, and he didn't even have to be in the room for it. So
he's listening, trust me.
Yeah.
Brian Peters is our guest. Brian, of course, is the owner at Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters here in town, 612 South 32nd Street. See, I've got that memorized now, so I'm not telling people that I'm in Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters. I'm here at the corner of 2nd Avenue North and 10th Street. So there we go. And I'll probably be here, for a while yet. Anyway, we should talk because there's a lot of misunderstanding. I want to talk about your business just a little bit because there's still a lot of misunderstanding. The city has done a lot of water upgrades in recent years, and it was very much needed. A lot of people were having green water come out of the faucet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's important. But we still need water softeners, and we still need water conditioning products, your type of business. And by the way, we have a setup here in our office from Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters, a coffee. Not surprisingly, we have a bunch of coffee fiends around here, including myself. And we have a Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters drinking type situation that we also use for coffee. And I don't think we've ever cleaned the coffee pot. It's
Well,
that
it's
good.
typically, it's probably something where, your driver's probably been swapping that out as he's been
That
making
could
his
be.
rounds too. So, I mean, yeah, we do offer a coffee service, the brewers, the individual packets of coffee, everything down to your single serve, K cup and things like that. So we do offer a wide variety of coffees and the equipment to brew it. And obviously, when you want the best cup of coffee, you want to use the best water to make that cup of coffee. So all of our equipment, comes with basically a 5-gallon bottle of water that's pouring through it or being pumped into it. Because we believe, in making great coffee, it all starts with great water.
Yeah.
So it's a service that a lot of offices do utilize. It's one of those where, the coffee that we sell all comes basically in a little, it's basically a filter packet.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no real chance of coffee grounds ending up in the bottom of the pot or ending up all over the break room counter or getting spilled somewhere else. It's a nice clean way to kind of manage part of your break room too.
Well, I've come to believe that the water, as far as coffee goes, really does make all the difference. I can really tell the difference if somebody doesn't have treated water, a restaurant, somebody's home or whatever. I really come to understand that more and more. What's osmosis? Why is that important?
Well, I mean, reverse, when you're talking about, reverse osmosis, it's basically the way that it's the simplest way to truly purify water. You're able to separate a lot of the bad things or a lot of the things that you wouldn't want, that can make water taste bad or can make it hard for that water to absorb the flavor of coffee. By using reverse osmosis, you're basically able to separate, what is water from what's not water. You basically kind of, and send what's not water straight off to the drain, send what is water, right off to, well, in your home, it might be your refrigerator, your ice maker, or your coffee pot. We've hooked lines direct up to coffee makers too.
Okay. Yeah. And you have I have this at my house as well. You have drivers that go around town and the area
Oh yeah.
to individual homes.
Yep, we do individual home salt service is really kind of a cornerstone of the business, and it's still maintained and it still continues to be, even with the changes that the city has made. We're still delivering salt to homes. In the homes where it's one of our units, we're delivering a lot less salt than we used to, and that's the way that the machines are set up to work. Based on the hardness of the water, the machine should be, from what it was to what it is now, should be using considerably less salt.
Mm-hmm.
And there are settings that can be adjusted on just about any kind of softener that should make it use less salt. So if you're still using the same amount of salt that you were a year or 2 years ago, give us a call because that we can hopefully get your system set up to where it can use a lot less salt and still provide you with the soft water that you're used to. Because for anybody that's used to soft water, even with the projects that the city's done and the great improvements that they have done, it's still not going to feel like it's soft if you're not using a softener.
That's right.
It will still leave a little bit of residue on dishes when you wash them. It'll still leave rings in toilets, things like that, but nowhere near like what it used to.
Yeah. Well, that's the truth as far as my place is concerned. It really is. I don't like that. What happens in the toilet there with some of the hard water.
Sure.
It just wears it out.
Yep.
It's harder on things.
Well, it's called hard for a reason. It's hard on things. Hard water is hard on things.
Hard
that is
water
a fact.
Is hard on things.
Yep.
And it definitely, from washing the dishes to drinking water or whatever. And I usually get you have bottled water there as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And am I missing any of your products or not?
Well, let's see. We've talked softeners and coffee and bottled water. Those are man. The salt service is also a big one, but yeah, those are really kind of the pillars of it.
Okay, so no cure for cancer coming out of Blue Ribbon.
Not immediately. I don't even have that. It's not even close to an R&D budget. So no, I'm not pharmaceutical by any means.
No, I didn't think so. You're also a member of the Presbyterian Church, you and your family.
Yes, we are.
You have a wife and 2 children.
Yeah, wife and
two wrestlers. I should say.
Sorry. I did. Well, the one just finished up his season. The middle school season just wrapped up. So another one's still working his way through on the high school team. But yeah, no, they're.
What's he, a 9th grader?
He is. Yeah, he's a freshman this year. So.
Well, good for them.
Yeah,
that's a great sport.
Well, it's a great sport, and they're really enjoying it. The coaches have been great. The coaches have been great with them. They've learned a lot. Obviously, worked really hard. Wrestling's a hard sport. As we were talking earlier, yeah, no, I think it's a great sport to be a part of. Definitely teaches them how to work, teaches them how to win, teaches them how to lose.
Yeah, it's a tough
Um,
sport.
it's a very tough sport. And it's one that, again, we've got very good coaches for wrestling here in Fort Dodge, as
The
we should.
best,
We're
boy.
we're a wrestling town,
Yes, we are.
and we're a wrestling town in a wrestling state.
Yes, we are.
So it's good that we've got the people there that are, they volunteer a lot of time.
Do you hold any offices over at First Presbyterian or not?
I'm on the session at the moment. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
part of the kind of the governing board over there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Well, it's a great church. I try to make Bible at breakfast with Pastor Hill
Sure.
out at Village Inn, 6:30 every Tuesday. We had a great group last Tuesday.
Yeah, you still have them on Mondays too, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, okay,
And,
okay.
I don't know how well he enjoys that some days when I play Stump the Pastor.
I don't think Austin minds being challenged from
No,
time to time.
no.
Keeps him sharp. It's not a bad thing.
Boy, his knowledge of biblical history is impressive.
No, Austin and Sarah both do a fantastic
They
job
do.
for the church. They really are amazing people. And yeah, Austin's knowledge and is and for me specifically, it makes and a lot of times it makes a sermon fun to listen to, because you don't just get what the Bible said. You also you get some background on what was happening,
Yes,
around those events, and then really kind of helps continue to bring that book to life.
it does.
You know,
Pastor Hill will talk about that a lot when we're discussing the prophets, for
oh,
example.
absolutely.
And this is what the background was, because all these historic and biblical figures, we think of them sometimes as more than human. They weren't.
Right.
They were human beings who were inspired and perhaps touched by God, but they were
wrote
still
those
human
experiences down, and those experiences in the time that they experienced them, goes a long way to help put all those things in context, to help explain the challenges that they were facing at that time, and how their faith and how God touched their lives in a given way to really make it, to make it valuable to the point where we can all look back on it and still find value in it.
Yeah. Well, it's a great church, great people. I was involved for a number of years. I try to stay active a little bit with Bible at Breakfast, but it's Bible at Breakfast especially is a learning experience. You got a lot of older fellows there. Most of us are older guys.
Sure.
I think your dad might be the youngest guy out there. No, Terry probably.
Yeah, probably don't need to tell him that, but
No,
anyway.
no, he knows it. He knows it. Anyway, Brian Peterson's been our guest with Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters. Give us your information, please. Contact information.
You can find us on the World Wide Web at www.fdwater.com. You can always call us on the telephone, 515-576-6481.
Brian Peterson's been our guest. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Mike.
This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at JMike1400.
It's 3:29. News is next. Then Matt Johnson from Fort Dodge Ford.
Want to hear how I almost got off the naughty list this year?
Westerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies. Tonight, chance of snow. Lows level off around 18. Chance for snow tomorrow. High of 26. Partly cloudy. Temperatures a bit above average Sunday and Monday with highs in the mid-30s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 33.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD. If you don't listen to him, you suck.
Well, that's absolutely correct. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, and our guest for this segment is Matt Johnson of Fort Dodge Ford Lincoln Toyota. How you doing, man?
Good afternoon. I am just honored and privileged that you called me. I'm happy to be here. Life is great. I can't complain.
Now, I asked you out in the hallway if Steve Powell still worked there.
Oh,
Are you sure?
absolutely. Absolutely. Every day. Yeah. So
No, every day.
Well-
Come on, Matt, that's too much.
well, we're closed on
You're
Sunday.
laying it
So
on
yeah.
too thick there. Every day, Steve.
Well, it's all about people and networking. And so he's always talking to somebody every day. So yeah. So there
I
you
used
go.
to do
Yeah.
that too,
Oh,
in
gosh,
Chesterfield
yeah.
About 12 hours a day.
There you go.
Maybe he doesn't do that. Matt Johnson, of course, his family's been in the car business here in Fort Dodge, what, 25 years?
25 years. Yeah,
24 was it
absolutely.
this year?
October was 25.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember
So it was
going to the
October
parties.
96. So yeah, we've been very blessed. So life is great.
Well, you've done a good job, and part of your dad's a master marketer. I'll tell you, that guy's good. He really is.
I tell you, I not only call him father, but work with him and learn from him. He's been a mentor. And so, yeah, I couldn't be happier or more excited to work next to him and to learn from him. And we got a great team of people, and I'm just very, very fortunate.
Great small town business. Nick, of course, is down in Ames.
He's in Ames. Absolutely. Yeah. So,
and,
and that was November 12th. So we just celebrated 9 years there already, which is just,
really?
yes, can't
9
believe 9 years. So it just goes quick. And again, the Ames market has been spectacular and good team of people there. And so gotten involved with the Iowa State University. And so that's been a lot of fun. And yeah, so we're, again,
the Ford store down in Ames was kind of like the Ford store here in Fort Dodge. It wasn't going that well until you guys got here.
Well, it was
And then it
was not operating at its peak. So so that's why it was for sale. And so
operating at its peak.
Yes. So
I wanted to talk to you about electric cars.
Absolutely.
I know they're coming, and
Yes.
apparently Ford Motor Company does as well.
They do.
And certainly Toyota. Now, I was reading in the Wall Street Journal the other day that Toyota had kind of been dragging its feet on the development of electric cars. It wasn't moving perhaps as like the big three were here in this country, but they seem to have had a change of heart, according to the Wall Street Journal article.
I tell you, they are, again, both companies have been, and all the companies today to be competitive are in that space. Toyota specifically believe in a portfolio of vehicles, which is a portfolio of electrification, which included a hybrid, so a traditional gas and electric, but you don't plug it in. You just put normal gas in. It does everything internally. They have plug-in hybrids, which you plug it in the wall, and the first 30, 40, 50 miles would be electric only. And then once the charge runs out, then you're just a normal hybrid vehicle. And so it runs on a combination of gas and electric. So then you're not the limitation of full electric. Obviously, if people say, well, what if your battery runs low or runs out, then you're stuck. It's just like if you run out of gas, and so, and then they did have some electric vehicles, but yeah, just last week or 2 weeks ago, they had announced, they said by 2030, we're going to have 30 full EVs from Toyota, and the whole range of vehicles. So pickups, vans, cars, crossovers, SUVs. So they have definitely, have dived deeper in that full electrification, and you hear it from, Ford, GM, Toyota, obviously Tesla has, which a lot of people are familiar with, is kind of, I would say, has maybe accelerated the development of the other manufacturers. And it's definitely in the news and in the media and people asking questions. And so we have great products to sell. So Ford currently has the Mustang Mach-E, which Abigail's driving, and it is a full electric vehicle. And it's been spectacular. It's comfortable. It's quiet. There's no vibration because you don't have the pistons and everything moving in it. And single speed transmission. So there's no shifting. Instant torque, with electric motor. So you don't have the ramp up of a traditional combustion. And it is a blast to drive, and so you will continue to see this summer, we're going to have the F-150. That'll be full electric. And then you'll see other models to follow. And so it's really an interesting proposition, and I think it will, as battery technology increases and range of the vehicles and the charge network and charge times decrease, you will see that continue to grow and be more mainstream for more consumers.
Now, the Biden administration is kind of a green administration, not kind of a green administration. It is a green administration. Have they offered incentives?
So there currently is a $7,500 tax incentive to buy a full electric vehicle. There have been discussions of that going to $12,000. And the current administration has been talking about part of the infrastructure and the other things, building out the charging network
Right.
across the country. And so, kind of begin with Tesla had their network. Rivian, which is a new company that just came out, some people are familiar with. They do a pickup and an SUV. They're working on building a charging network. And, most people in the industry say we need a one unified network. So whether you're driving a Ford or Toyota or any brand, you can plug in just like gas station. You can pull in, charge up, and off the way you go. And so I think you will see. So there's been a push to say, hey, we need to consolidate our efforts and make sure that everybody's has equal opportunity at these different charging stations. And it doesn't make sense to duplicate efforts for all the specific manufacturers. So
that's my major concern. We live in a very rural state, of
Mhm.
course. And you can drive across most of eastern or western Iowa from Fort Dodge, and they're all small towns.
Yep.
Can you find a charging station? I mean, is there adequate?
You would be surprised. So Ford, obviously through their app, and they have their own thing, but ChargePoint, Charge USA. So there are apps and things that you find that.
What's ChargePoint?
ChargePoint and Charge USA are apps that
okay.
show the charge network and different devices and things. So people would be surprised in Carroll, Iowa. There's a charge station there. That's a DC charger, so it's a fast charging, and it's actually free. So there's no cost. So, because the other question we get a lot of times, people say, well, if I stop at these different places, what do they charge?
Yeah.
And so it does depend on the specific charging station you stop. A lot of them do charge a session fee. So if you plug in, it charges $1 or $2. And then typically they either charge, some are free, but either charge per kilowatt that you're buying the energy or per hour. So just depending on what it is, and most of the time they'll say, hey, we have 4 charging stations, 3 of them are available. This is what the fees are. And so it is very well laid out, and you will see that network continue to grow, because that's a common question. People say, well, I don't want to get stuck. Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
I don't want to get out, halfway between here and Dubuque, just east of Waterloo, and
then you get stuck. And so the cars tell you what percentage battery, what range is left based on your current speed and electric needs and the other stuff. So there's lots of warning, and you'll know kind of how you're doing and where. And if you have a destination set, it will tell you stop here, charge for 20 minutes, stop there, charge for 30 minutes, and it will kind of walk you through that.
ChargePoint, did you say? Here,
yeah,
I have it on my phone.
There you go. Yeah. So that's just one of the apps, but there are several that do show the charge network. And
what did you say originally? ChargePoint?
Charge USA is another
Charge
one.
USA.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
and then of course, Ford through the Ford Pass app has their own information and network, and Toyota has a very similar system. So that is range anxiety, they call it, is what I'm saying. That's one of the terms they use.
I have a mental illness.
Yeah,
another one.
No, and so it is. And again, as you see that, and I tell everybody, people say, hey, is it for me? And I said, if you're driving 300 to 500 miles per day and you are constantly on the road and going cross country, it may not be ready for you today. The reality is most people aren't doing that. Say, well, I take a road trip once a year. Okay. During that time, use a different car, rent a car, or you deal with stopping and charging as you're traveling, because it'll do it. It just take you a little bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 95% of the time, you have a vehicle that suits your needs. I always tell everybody, buy what you're going to use 95% of the time.
Sure.
And so the people that have adopted or tried it, they say I never buy a gallon of gas.
Are EV cars more expensive than gasoline cars?
It depends on, I would say right now with development costs and the other things, they would be slightly more expensive. Yes. That is a reality. And I tell everybody, for ownership, you take a look at the total picture. What's my initial costs? What are maintenance costs ongoing? What are my fuel costs every month? What are insurance costs? What are all these other things? And for us, if more EVs come out, you don't have oil changes.
That's right.
You got to
What's that say to your business? Are
Well,
you guys depend a lot on the service
the
end of the
business model may change. Now, again, you have lots of computers. You still have window motors. You have communication. You're going to have camera systems. You're going to have adaptive cruise, lane departure, some of these self-driving features. So our service model may change. They're still going to need tires. You're still going to do rotations. So there still will be a need, but it may look different down the road. And so the other thought is, okay, if half our lot is EVs, we need charge stations on our lot, because as they sit there, just to make them sure they're topped off and ready, we at some point may be installing chargers actually in the lot for our display vehicles.
I don't know how you wouldn't. Really.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see, as things develop and change. And, originally Toyota started in 99 with the Prius. People think hybrid, they think of Prius. And again, great mileage, unique styling, wasn't known for performance, just not a big shock. Electrification today is performance oriented. You see sports cars and performance companies and everybody using hybrid electrification technology for performance, and you get the advantage of the mileage. So you get the instant torque and you get, better fuel mileage. So it's really changed what a hybrid or what electrification means, so
let's, Matt Johnson's our guest. He, of course, is with Ford Dodge, Forge, Lincoln, Toyota. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. You're on the air at KVFD.
Hi, good afternoon. I've been listening to you about electrical vehicles. I have a question. Do electrical vehicles, since they do not use any petroleum products, do they have to pay road tax, or is that don't have to pay a road tax? Is there any road tax included in the charging stations? And I'll let you answer the question.
That is a great question, because that has been brought up to say, fuel purchase, it's how we support our infrastructure. And what is that going to look like? And I think, and that is a discussion for legislators and other people to say, how is that supported if people aren't buying fuel? And again, so I that is a very valid question. And obviously we need to support our infrastructure needs in the country. And so I think that's yet to be determined. But if you're not buying fuel,
that's another game changer, isn't it?
Again, absolutely. And you will see a lot of traditional energy companies getting into the charging stations and the other things to say that, hey, we're we provide energy, whether it happens to be gas or electricity for electric vehicles and other things. So I think you'll see those, just like we may transition with what we sell, they may transition to how they provide energy.
Great question from that call.
If I did buy an electrical vehicle,
I'm sorry, sir. We're going to have to go. You've asked some great questions. We got to go. Matt, thanks for being here. It's 4 o'clock.
It's everything digital on the Kim Commando Show every Saturday from 11 to 2 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
The defense rests in 2 high-profile cases. Lisa Brady, Fox News. First to Minnesota, where now former officer Kim Potter is charged with 2 counts of manslaughter in the traffic stop killing of Dante Wright, who was trying to get the car moving with an officer inside when the defense argues Potter made a mistake, firing her gun instead of her taser.
You knew that deadly force was unreasonable and unwarranted in this circumstance.
I didn't want to hurt anybody.
You didn't want to hurt anybody.
But Potter told prosecutor Erin Eldridge she doesn't remember saying she was going to prison, which is on the body cam footage. Potter also testified she had never fired her gun or deployed her taser in her 26-year career. The jury could get that case on Monday. And in New York, only a 2-day defense at the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell after prosecutors spent weeks laying out a sex trafficking case against her. The British socialite and longtime associate of late financier Jeffrey Epstein deciding not to take the stand, telling the court today the government didn't prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt, so there was no reason to testify. That case could also go to the jury Monday after closing arguments. A new surge of COVID breaking records yet again. New York State reporting more than 21,000 new cases today, topping its previous high from January. And in New York City, the positivity rate doubling in 3 days, also breaking new ground. Amid the rise of the fast-spreading Omicron variant, though Delta is still the dominant strain for now. The NFL having to postpone games because of outbreaks.
The Cleveland Browns and the Las Vegas Raiders will no longer square off Saturday. The NFL postponing that game to Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. As of Friday morning, the Browns had 24 players on their COVID reserve list who either have tested positive for the virus or have yet to clear protocol.
Fox's Matt Napolitano. 2 Sunday games also postponed. America is listening to Fox News.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out, because when you find the perfect home, you don't want to lose it to anybody else. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers and their agents greater confidence in you. We've already helped over 1 million clients just like you reach their home financing goals this year alone. So remember this, what can help you buy the home you really want? Rocket can. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET. That's rocketmortgage.com or call 8338-ROCKET.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information, appraisal, and title report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
A sad day in Kentucky.
As of this morning, I believe our number of fatalities is now up to 77.
But Governor Andy Beshear is pledging again to rebuild from the swarm of tornadoes 1 week ago that killed more than 90 people in all in 5 states, leveling thousands of homes and businesses.
I see just as much love in the midst of all this as I see destruction.
Beshear commending everyone who's helping strangers and noting that several shelters have already closed because of people who still have homes inviting others in as soon as their electricity is restored. A trend away from using standardized test scores in college admissions appears to still be growing with an Ivy League edition.
Harvard University is waiving SAT and ACT scores for admission for at least the next 4 years through the 2030 graduating class. The requirement had already been waived for admissions this year and last year, although students may submit scores as part of their application package. The Harvard announcement says it's because of the coronavirus pandemic and the possibility of students not having equal access to testing. Other schools have stopped requiring the tests altogether in recent years.
Fox's Chris Foster. Another honor for the Queen of Country.
Dolly Parton breaks 3 Guinness World Records.
This is the kind of stuff that really makes you very humble and makes you very thankful and grateful.
The organization sharing a Twitter clip of the country superstar being awarded certificates in Nashville as the female artist with the most decades on and most #1 hits on the Billboard U.S. Hot Country Songs chart. And breaking her own record for most overall hits on the chart with 109 tracks making it on the Billboard list.
I've just loved being able to make a living in the business that I love so much.
Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Wall Street's week ends with a slide. The Dow down 532 points. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
For KVFD News, I'm Brooke Bickford. Power has been out for some communities since Wednesday night, and the impact of the storm is going to be felt for weeks. But what we can't see by driving by the destruction is how the communities affected have come together to help each other. Webster County Supervisor Mark Campbell represents the area that was hit hardest in Webster County. He says the damage will take time to clean up.
People were there picking up and hauling away and brought tools, equipment, skid loaders, skid steers, everything just to help and be a part of trying to get people back on their feet and literally just walking the fields, picking up all the debris pattern and debris field that goes northwest of all these facilities that were hit is absolutely incredible.
Campbell says people being notified about the weather threat in advance and people taking it seriously most likely help keep it from harming more people.
We are absolutely blessed that nobody was seriously injured in this. And the turnout of volunteers and neighbors coming together is absolutely incredible to see. It will take time. However, there's a lot of people out there helping. We'll get the mess cleaned up as quickly as possible. Our public safety, the Sheriff's Department, secondary roads, the Iowa DOT are all out there. We have an absolutely amazing partner with Mid-American Energy and Alliant Energy. They have crews that have been working 24 hours.
Everything from community centers to fire stations have been open to the public to help with food and warmth during this time. Wednesday night storm has been categorized as a derecho and is responsible for killing at least 5 people. After a brief delay due to weather, the Santa Cops 2021 is a wrap. According to the Fort Dodge Police Association, over 90 kids in Webster County got a little added holiday cheer when they went shopping at Target with one of our professionals in blue this week. Target members